Johnny Depp often plays eccentric characters who exist on the verge of reality, such as the Mad Hatter, Willy Wonka, Edward Scissorhands, and many others. This image hides a difficult childhood. He grew up in a family with an unstable atmosphere, where his mother, taking pills for mental disorders and showing unpredictability, often resorted to physical punishment. Make yourself comfortable. Today we will dive into the history of Johnny's childhood relationship with his mother. Hello everyone. You're looking at Johnny Depp's files. Has Johnny managed to become a better parent? The Pirates of the Caribbean star, who grew up in a family with an older brother and two older sisters, shared memories of his childhood, where his mother Betty Sue was the main educator. His father, a civil engineer, and his waitress mother often quarreled and eventually divorced. Although Johnny idolized his mother, he was aware of her strange behavior and cruelty. "My mom was probably the meanest person I've ever met in my life," Johnny said at her funeral. She beat him for no reason and threw objects at him, such as ashtrays or a phone. However, Johnny understood that her difficult childhood also affected her behavior. Betty Sue grew up in poverty and faced abuse from her mother as early as the age of 12. There was no stability in the Depp family. They lived in Kentucky, then in Florida, often moving from place to place. So I read that by the time you turned 15, you were already living in 20 different houses. Is that true? Oh yes, maybe 40. Yes, maybe 40. Why? My mom loved moving. His mother worked 2 shifts to provide for the family, and upon returning home, Johnny rubbed her feet while she counted the money she earned. We moved around a lot, and I never had a sense of home, security, or stability. It was a pretty brutal upbringing. Johnny is rumored to have started taking his mother's sedative pills when he was just 11 years old. He said that his mother often asked him to buy her pills for nervous breakdown. Soon he realized that these pills help her calm down, so one day he decided to try one of them, and that's when his use began. Johnny Depp admitted that drugs and alcohol were a way for him to numb the pain he experienced in his youth. However, something appeared in his life that helped him through difficult times. Learning to play the guitar was his salvation from the horrors of childhood. In the 2016 year, Johnny was a special guest at the Classic Rock and Roll of O Festival in Tokyo, where he gave a frank interview to Classic Rock magazine. He talked about his film career, his role as a guitarist in the rock supergroup Olivu Upu, and his traumatic childhood. Johnny recalled that when he was about 12 years old, he and his mother were driving along the main boulevard of a small town, where a small local concert was taking place in the parking lot of a grocery store. They stopped at a traffic light and he saw the band performing. This event was a turning point in his life. After that, Johnny convinced his mother to buy him a cheap guitar for $25 and a small blue plush amp. That sounded like garbage. So began his lifelong romance with music. But I'll tell you one thing, when he plays guitar on stage, he remains himself. This is the real Johnny. When you see Johnny on stage, you see the real Johnny. Music became his way of escaping from domestic nightmares. Johnny said that the violence came mainly from his mother, but added, "My father also did not disdain punishment with a belt. Every day had its own cruelty. They did what they did best." Johnny has always openly talked about how his mother often turned his life into a continuous suffering. Now Private Detective Paul Baresi, who is working on a documentary about Johnny's marriage with Amber Heard, has discovered court documents that show what the future star's childhood was like. Abandoned by his mother, he was left to fend for himself. In the divorce papers filed in 1981 to terminate her marriage to John Depp, she stated that Johnny, the youngest of their 4 children, was an emancipated and independent person. What do you want for yourself? Just for yourself. I want to be a good person. At that time, Johnny was only 17 years old. And it took a few more years before his first significant role in the movie A Nightmare on Elm Street, so he was forced to provide for himself, moonlighting as a part-time telemarketing specialist. Needless to say, at the age of 17, Johnny was hardly financially independent and far from emancipated. As Paul Baresi claims in the documentary Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard. In fact, his mother disowned him at a time when he was in particular need of support. Still, Johnny didn't hold it against her. Although their relationship was far from perfect, Depp used his first large salary to buy his mother a farm in the suburbs of Lexington, Kentucky. Over time, their relationship improved, although Betty Sue died in 2016. At the time, Johnny did not comment on her death, and this event quickly overshadowed the news of his divorce from Amber Heard. But later, when he was honored for supporting cancer patients, the actor spoke about his mother. She was a real devil, Johnny told the audience, accepting the award. He also noted that his mother and her family would have been lost without the doctors who treated her. We are always deeply indebted to them, he added. During the Thanksgiving speech, Johnny also shared another personal moment: the hospitalization of his daughter Lily Rose Depp in 2007. After contracting E. coli, which caused kidney failure when she was only 7 years old. He spent 3 weeks in a London hospital with Vanessa Paradis and their daughter, not knowing if she would survive. When my daughter was ill, I experienced darkness in my life, but it was the darkest period. Then I was filming in Svinetode. Executive Director Kyle Stefanski explained why the organization is awarding Johnny the award. The star of Pirates of the Caribbean for many years visited children's hospitals in the image of Captain Jack Sparrow, delighting young patients. Johnny uses his name, his time, and makes donations to good causes, especially in the field of cancer control, Stefanski said. When Johnny was asked about his role as Captain Jack Sparrow, he replied that he would never leave this character. Jack is always ready to say stupid things to make people laugh. I would love to play this role again, the actor told reporters. He also added, I can come to someone's house and perform at your child's birthday party. This is the greatest pleasure of Jack Sparrow. The actor noted that his children Lily Rose and Jack made him a more caring person. When I had children, I decided that I would raise them differently. With my children, I will do the opposite. They are told 75 times a day that they are loved. One thing I know for sure, they feel loved, protected, happy and needed. Now, we want to appeal to all our viewers. Our work is impossible without your support, which has significantly decreased recently. Without your help, Johnny Depp's files will be able to continue to exist. If you want to see new releases, please support us. A subscription to the channel, or a sponsored subscription, will help us continue our project. Johnny Depp's files have to live and get better, and it's up to you. The link to sponsorship is in the description. Thank you so much for watching and your comments. Don't forget to watch our other videos, share them with friends, and return to our channel. See you in the new video. Take care of yourself.